alright, dude? No. Hey, pull Chris off. Pull Chris off. Stop! Get our city. Get out of our city. Choke yourself out. We're right here. Turn it.
What agency are you guys with?
Who are you guys? Oh, are you guys the cops? Shut the f*** up. Who are you? Who are you? Take your mask off and show me some badge.
What agency are you guys with?
It's so easy to be behind a mask. Can you guys tell us who you are? Who are you?
Oh, you guys are ruining this country. You know that, right? Liberals already ruined it.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Can we see some badge work, guys?
His property.
Hey, guys.
Already ruined it. No number, no ID.
Placement. But without it, political parties of any and all stripes have learned again and again, perhaps some more recently than others, that without genuine grassroots enthusiasm, authentic excitement among the vast majority of your voters, electorally, you are toast. So you can understand why Democrats are starting to feel like they've got their mojo back today, the wind back in their sails, thanks to a rather unexpected issue. What NBC News calls the, quote, burning hot center of Democratic politics right now, the battle over redistricting. But it isn't just Texas Democrats who are now vowing to fight fire with fire in what Democrats see as what it is, a Republican power grab. But their party allies, other Democrats, have entered the fray as well. California's Governor Gavin Newsom, for instance, has spent the better part of the week masterfully trolling Donald Trump online. It culminated in an all-caps threat, written in very Trumpian style, to make sure he understood it, I guess. Quote, Donald Taco Trump, as many call him, quote, missed the deadline, exclamation point. California will now draw new, more beautiful maps. They will be historic, as they will end the Trump presidency. Dems take back the House. Big press conference this week with powerful Dems and Gavin Newsom, your favorite governor, that will be devastating for MAGA. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, whatever happens in California or Texas or Illinois or anywhere else, it's clear Democrats have some momentum back. They're energized, not just by the issues, but by their own voters who are all too eager to see them fight.
Concern level do you have that Donald Trump is going to get desperate and maybe use something like martial law to try and suspend elections?
I'm most concerned what you just saw today. That's a preview of things to come. I said this a few months ago about the National Guard and what more evidence do you need than what just happened in Washington, D.C. It's a preview of things to come. What you just saw happen right out there, that's a preview of things to come that are going to happen near voting stations, voting booths, all across this country. You think for a second they're not going to play this kind of game? Scare people from literally standing in line on their constitutionally protected right to express themselves to the ballot box? It's exactly what they're going to do. You know that for a fact. That's what Stephen Miller's playbook is. That's what Donald Trump's playbook is. That's what Tom Homan's playbook is. These guys are reckless. So I hope people pay attention to what, it wasn't just about this press conference. It really sort of presses the point about the stakes. And again, just don't get goddamn distracted, excuse my language. Don't, by the zig and zag of the day. Focus on the essentials. This is happening, and this is a preview of things that you're going to see all across the country.
Look at all these fucking Nazis over here. They got their fucking faces covered like a bunch of goddamn pussies. Look at this shit. You gotta know, you're performing a federal function. People deserve to know who's arresting them. Is it because you want to disappear people that you don't like immigrants? Guess what they did in 1939 to my people? It's killed 6 million of them by people who look just like you. Look at this shit. They locked my people up too, killed 6 million of them, look just like this. Just like this. This is how it starts. They're walking around in unmarked vehicles, grabbing people off the street. And your colleagues just said they love the fucking Proud Boys. They said they love the Proud Boys. They got it all on video. Your colleagues, do you agree with them? Do you want to kill Jews too? Do you want to disappear people of color? Get them off the street? It's all over the place. Guess what? Guess what? You're gonna see us in the streets every fucking day. You're gonna be so fucking tired of us. We're not going anywhere, you little bitch. This other one over here, he looks just like the Nazis in Germany. Looks just like the neo-Nazis. Look at this. We got ICE over here. You should be fucking ashamed to be doing the job that you're doing. If you think any of you guys are safe, you're wrong. Look at these little Nazi-ass bitches. This is ICE right here. They're rounding up random people who are just trying to make a living. They did the same thing to my people. They did the same thing to my people. In the 1930s, they're pulling people into unmarked cars. That's right. That's right. Get in your little Nazi-ass car.
Wake up, America. Wake up to what Donald Trump is doing. Here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't believe in the rules. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district. We have got to meet fire with fire. We're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting to level the playing field all across the United States. On November 4th, you have the power to stand up to Trump. Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back. This is a serious moment. Wake up.
50,000 immigrants are currently detained in this country.
If we do not stand together in this moment, we will be torn apart as a nation and as a people. We want ICE off our streets.
This morning, Donald Trump's former Attorney General Bill Barr is under oath on Capitol Hill, answering questions about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, his crimes, his closely held files, and his mysterious jailhouse death that prompted years of conspiracy theories. Barr, who served as Attorney General at the time of Epstein's death and initially had his own suspicions before an FBI and DOJ investigation, was subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee. In standard form, Barr's deposition is being taken privately behind closed doors, but he's just one of several high-profile depositions on the docket, among them former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who were called to come testify for the committee. No word on if that will actually happen. But joining us now from Capitol Hill, NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor. Sahil, Barr personally investigated Epstein's death while he served as AG during Trump's first term. He launched an investigation at the time and said while he initially had his own suspicions, all it uncovered was, quote, a perfect storm of screw-ups at the jail. So what kind of information is the committee seeking from him today?
Yeah, that's right, Ali. This is the first of many depositions that the Oversight Committee and its chair, James Comer, have demanded in the Epstein probe. That William Barr interview was scheduled for 9:30 a.m., but the pool camera spotted him walking in a little bit early. He is interesting to the committee because of exactly what you mentioned. He was AG during the first Trump administration when Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell 6 years ago. At the time, Barr said he was appalled by what he called the apparent suicide and said there were serious questions about the circumstances of that death. One obvious one that people are still scratching their heads over is why in the world was this man left alone for even a minute, unmonitored, when he was awaiting trial on extremely serious charges and would be at a high risk of harming or even killing himself. That said, it's not clear this committee is going to learn much, if anything, from Barr today. This subpoena was just the appetizer. The main course is tomorrow, the subpoena for the Justice Department and current AG Pam Bondi to turn over a slew of files relating to the crimes, the various prosecutions, and the death of Jeffrey Epstein, including internal communications. Now, Chairman Comer, the Kentucky Republican, was asked about this moments ago, whether he expects the DOJ to actually meet that deadline. He downplayed this a little bit, saying only that they're having really good conversations, that there are many documents at play, and that, quote, I think we'll receive the documents very soon, end quote. That is the real issue here, the Trump administration's reluctance to release those files that sparked the frenzy on Capitol Hill.
Like Democrats. And you say Donald Trump tells it like it is. Literally today, he said inflation cooling right where we want it. And we got the U.S. wholesale inflation number, which is the highest that it's been in 3 years. Fresh and dry veggies up 39%, beef up 80%, toys, appliances, shoes, things that we all need, 44% of people are saying now that they are going to have to go into debt to get their kids back to school.
Is that I'm sure you've heard that Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made big news recently by announcing that he's cutting 22 mRNA vaccine development programs and additional federal funding for other mRNA technologies. If mRNA sounds familiar, it's because it is. This was the biotechnology platform that allowed for the innovation that was the COVID vaccine, the life-saving COVID vaccine that saved millions of lives in the thick of the pandemic. To justify these cuts, RFK Jr. said this.
As the pandemic showed us, mRNA vaccines don't perform well against viruses that infect the upper respiratory tract. One mutation and the vaccine becomes ineffective.
There are so many things wrong with this, and as a pulmonologist, I'm going to break it down. First of all, these mRNA vaccines are not meant to protect against upper respiratory tract infections. Those are infections that, say, cause mild symptoms like a sore throat, a runny nose, a cough. That's our mouth, that's our nose, that's the upper respiratory tract. These mRNA vaccines, as we've been talking about for many years now, protect against severe complications in the lower respiratory tract, our lungs. In other words, it protects against severe pneumonia, something that might end up causing somebody to go to, say, the ICU and needing a ventilator or other life support. That's what these vaccines do really, really well. RFK is flat out wrong here, and either he is knowingly deflecting and causing confusion, or, and this is likely worse, he doesn't even know the difference between the lower and the upper respiratory tract. So what now? What does RFK Jr. want the Health and Human Services Department to focus on after cutting nearly $500 million in this vital life-saving research?
We're prioritizing the development of safer, broader vaccine strategies, like whole virus vaccines and novel platforms that don't collapse when viruses mutate.
This also makes no sense. Whole cell vaccine technology has existed for decades. We've been using this technology platform to build, in some cases, the flu vaccine, versions of the pneumococcal pneumonia vaccine. This isn't new. By the way, it takes, in many cases, 5 to 10 years to actually produce a vaccine using this technology, and many studies have shown that whole cell vaccine technology can actually cause more side effects. This is a surprising move, especially for a self-proclaimed vaccine safety advocate who often talks in misinformed ways about mRNA vaccine safety. And these cuts are facing a lot of backlash from the medical community, including from Trump's own former Surgeon General, who wrote on X, "This move is going to cost lives." And he's right. To sum it all up, RFK's justifications for pulling funding for mRNA vaccines are just flat out wrong. mRNA vaccines work. They've saved millions of lives worldwide. And this fairly new technology can be a real game changer in the way we protect ourselves against diseases moving forward. As a whole, our country will be less prepared, potentially in more danger, thanks to these cuts to mRNA vaccine development.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John. Hello, good morning, good morning. Test, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully everything's coming through okay. Let's see. Do I have audio? I'm going to check for the audio. Hello. There it is. I do hear myself, and we got a thumbs up there. Thank you so much. It's 11:53 a.m. In the Pacific time zone. Here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, it's already 98 degrees, expected high of 106. We've got a couple of days of rising temperatures. We're going to top out, I think, around 110, and then on Thursday, I think it was. And then after that, looking at the forecast, gradual cooling, so that by next week we'll be daytime highs below 100 degrees, which is awesome. And it looks like a whole week of double digits, mid to upper 90s. I'm hoping maybe this week or whenever we start cooling, that I'm hoping we're done with the triple digits. Although, don't let Mother Nature fool you. We might have, going into the last week of August, first week of September, we might have some, under triple digit weather, and we'll think, things are finally cooling off, and then bam, she'll just cold cock you with a 100 degree or 105 degree day. So we don't know. Well, anyhow, enough of that weather report. Thanks, guys, for waiting. If you got a lot of you guys in here, or sparklers, and you guys you watch Hal, and you saw Hal was having some major technical difficulties. He had to restart the show 2 or 3 times, and so that sort of led to this domino effect here, making me start late, because I really kind of set the show up to follow his show, and hopefully folks from that chat will come over here and hang out with us a little bit more. So that's why I was waiting for him to finish up, and he just did. So thanks, guys, for waiting. Thanks for your patience. I know you just you guys just can't get enough of Trucker John, and you get very antsy. No, I'm just kidding. It's mainly for, I'm sure it's the company of the other people in the chat. So look, I'm at the couch today. I'm not sitting in that awful chair anymore. That awful. I mean, poor chair. My 300-pound bulk sitting in that chair for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been using that chair. It's just a camp chair. It's one of those foldable. It's a very nice chair. If you were to take it camping or something, it's a very nice chair. It's not really meant to be, the main chair of some fat 300-pound dude sitting on it almost every day for 2 hours at a time. It finally gave out. It finally gave up the ghost. I'm looking at it right now. It's right there. Yeah, I'm talking about you, little chair. And so I'm not gonna sit on you anymore. I'm gonna sit on this beautiful couch, this beautiful free couch that I plucked out of the trash. Until I get my chair that I ordered. That one. The chair that I ordered. This one. As soon as I get this chair, which hopefully will be coming, will be delivered between Wednesday and Friday, they're saying. All the way from probably, China or something. I'm sorry, I didn't buy a made in the USA, union-made chair. I apologize. I needed a chair. I've had this on my Amazon wish list for at least a year, if not longer. And so I finally went ahead and ordered it when this chair over here gave out. So anyhow, that's the thing. That's the chair. That's the chair story and the couch story. All kinds of furniture stories. And I thank you guys for being here. Now, I'm not able to go all the way to the beginning of the chat. Well, I can't scroll back up. I did see, I think very, very early was Sandy Foltz was first. like way early, and then those tend to kind of drop off. If you come in and leave a comment like 3 hours early or something, those tend to kind of drop off. I know there were some other folks in here, but where we're picking up now is where Ivy Joe Rains says, "Dang it, either too early or too late. Just can't seem to get my crap right today." Now I'm not exactly sure when you posted that, Ivy Joe, but I believe it wasn't your fault. It was like I was still waiting for Hal there, so. But there's there James Jaramillo. Hello, James. Good to see you. Thanks for being here in the old driver's lounge. We got Mr. Spock. Live long and prosper. I know I'm not very good at that. I guess I could take my chair thing down now. I think I'll take it down because it does make it hard for me to see the chat that's on here. Yeah, there's Ivy Joe. We got Mr. Spock, James Jaramillo. James Jaramillo. Damon Dog, the big dog, is here. Good to see you. Damon says hello to everybody. And we got Anna Moore. Hey, Anna Moore, good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Anna says, hello, my fellow loungers. I am happy I survived last night's heavy winds and flash floods in New Jersey. Wow. Yeah. Stay safe in that weather. In that weather situation. Doug's here. Hey, Doug. Good to see Doug. Luck Dragon. Hello, Luck Dragon. Hello. Good to see you. Susie Jones is here. Hello, Susie. Thanks for coming on in. Alvin Stube. Always good to see Alvin. I'm just going to say, William, what do they call that? Your handle or whatever? I don't know. At user PH9WT3UE7C. For the rest of this program, we'll refer to you as William because that's usually what you go by. But I know YouTube has this stupid thing. It's still going on. No one likes it. Now you can change that in your settings, William. If you could make your @ handle @William. I'm pretty sure. If you don't like that that long, one like that. But anyhow, Aaron West is here. Just popping in before an appointment. Hope all goes well with the appointment. And I know you're moving soon. I don't think have you started the moving yet? I hope that goes well. Christina Weibel, Sparkler Raid. Christina, thanks so much for coming on in, and thanks for raiding. Thanks to Hal Sparks. I did hear Hal. I was watching the tail end of the show, and he told everyone to come over here, but no, I guess no one listened because we got 34. That's usually probably our normal number. But thanks, Christina. I do appreciate you coming on over. This damn AC. When I'm on the couch and when the AC's on, it's like blowing straight on me, and it gets a little cold. But then as soon as I shut it off, it gets hot. It's one of those things. It's just, and I know I could change the thing, but I don't want to mess it right now. That's with it. Let's see. Anna Moore says, "Oh boy, regarding the intro, here we go again. This is where our tax dollars are going to Trump's private police, aka ICE. Yeah, and these ICE, so-called ICE agents that we're seeing now, that's not your regular ICE. This is your Trump goon squad ICE for sure. And when the one guy, he goes, because the guy who was filming, I think, said, 'You guys are ruining this country,' and then he goes, 'You liberals already ruined it.' I think I would have said something like, 'No, it's you fucking Nazis that are ruining it.' That's what I would have said. I would have said, 'No, you fucking Nazis are ruining our country. Liberals aren't ruining it. Liberals make it better.' You know how I know? You know how I know that? because I've lived the life and I've seen it over and over and over and over again. When we have Republicans in the White House, things get fucked up. You can go to Nixon, Reagan, H.W. Bush, W. Bush, and then Trump. Every time those motherfuckers have been in the White House, fucking inflation goes up, unemployment goes up. Just economically, things go to shit. Let alone if a fucking pandemic breaks out and they don't know how to handle that. When Bill Clinton was elected after 12 years of Reagan and Bush, he created more jobs. We had a jobs boon. Wages were up, jobs were up, the economy was rolling. Then W gets in there, and by the time he was done with his 8 years, we were siphoning jobs. We were losing jobs at 300,000 a month. Every single month for the last few months or 6 months of his presidency, we were losing 300,000 jobs every single month. We were on the brink of a banking and financial collapse. The housing market had burst. Then what happens when we get Obama and he recovers? He recovers our economy. Obama turned us around from W. I don't give a fuck what you fucking say. People try to shit talk Obama, and I'm sick and tired of it. He was a goddamn great president. He took us from the brink of fucking financial collapse and turned us around and created jobs and drove down unemployment and kept inflation in check. And then what happens? Fucking Trump takes office and drives us right into the fucking toilet. He mishandled COVID, and all the good that Obama had done, he erased. Then what happens? Fucking Biden gets elected. Has the fucking fastest recovery I've ever seen. Had us at economic numbers we haven't seen in decades. We were the envy of the world. Everyone else was struggling, and within 2 years, Joe Biden had us at lowering inflation, lowering unemployment, creating jobs, and by the end of his term, we were historic numbers. And now what's happening? Trump gets back in, and within 8 months, we are circling the drain again. He's destroyed our economy. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to fucking know about the difference between Republicans and Democrats, and how Republicans are not good for America. They're not good for Americans. They're not good for our economy. They crash and destroy economies. And how when Democrats get in there, it's just the fucking opposite. They create jobs. They lower unemployment. They raise wages. If you don't think things are better under Democrats, then you're living under some rock. You're living in some sort of Fox News bubble. And I'm sick and fucking tired of it. And all this shit about, who's going to run in 2028? It better be this. It better be that. Fuck that. If he's got a D next to his fucking name or her name, and they're the nominee, you fucking vote for them. Because they're going to be 100%, 1,000,000% better than any goddamn Republican. And I don't care if it's, we get rid of Trump and we're done with MAGA and they get someone that's so-called reasonable Republican. They're all shit. Every single last one of them. Since in my lifetime. Okay, we don't count Eisenhower, because Eisenhower would have been a fucking Democrat by now if he were still alive. Certainly Nixon, Reagan, H.W., W, and Trump, all shit. And all progressively worse. So none of this fucking purity tests, and we need this and we need that. We just need a fucking Democrat in the White House, and we need Democrats controlling the Congress. That's all we fucking need. and we will already be way ahead and way better than we are under this clown. I have on the TV right now. I've got a live feed of the Trump thing. I don't have the volume up, but they're sitting at the long table, and he's sitting there looking like a fucking doofus. I don't know how else we can, because every year people are like, I don't know who to vote for, or both sides do it, or both sides are bad, or I don't like the Democrats' response to Gaza, when you don't even know what they're doing, which is probably bad messaging on the Democrats' part. Democrats under Joe Biden were negotiating every single day to help that situation. But I can tell you what, whatever Kamala Harris would have done about Gaza is a hell of a lot better than what Trump is doing. Trump is basically just telling Netanyahu, yeah, clear him out. Do what you got to do. I'm going to put a Trump Tower in there, So if you think that's better than whatever Kamala Harris or a Democratic administration would have been able to do, then you're wrong. Steven Sayers is here. Hey, Steve, good to see you. Came over for Hal. Hello, Steve. Thanks for coming over from Hal. Thanks for Hal. I did hear Hal send people over here, so thanks for that, Hal, and thanks for the folks that came over. Jolie's here. Hello, Jolie. Good to see you. Thanks for being here and helping me out. Help me to rein in this crowd. Let's see. I'm moving on down here. Old Moms is here. Good to see Old Moms. Now, did you guys see? Did you guys watch Texas Paul yesterday? I watched on the replay. I don't think I watched it live. And there was a segment. Did you see the segment where he just went off? I was going to try to clip that, but I guess he has it where you can't clip stuff. I could have screenshotted it, but I didn't want to do it. But that segment where he goes off about how important it is to vote and to quit the shit and quit the excuses and get out and fucking vote, he needs to clip that, and that needs to be posted everywhere. That was a great segment, if you guys saw that. Check out Texas Paul, man. He was on fire. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, man. I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you all the way. Is it kind of weird seeing like the back of my head and stuff in the mirror? Let me know what you think about that. I'm probably going to do this setup until my chair comes in. And then I'll be back against the green screen. Let's see. MJ Dog from up in Washington State says, ask them how it feels to be on the same side as the pardoned cop-killing January 6th terrorists. They are the January 6th terrorists. This goon squad that are primarily, most of them, how much you want to bet that a lot of them are the Jan 6ers. They all got pardoned and now they're all working for ICE. They're not all of them, I know, but I bet you a bunch of them. And if they weren't there, they were certainly sympathizers with them, Susie Jones, Newsom, my future president. He's definitely going to be running. I'd bet money on that. And I've been saying this for years now that I think he would be a great president. I was way out ahead of this one because, like, I remember 2 or 3 years ago when Biden was still in, was still during the Biden administration, and Gavin Newsom was, on the news for something, or he was just talking, and I just thought, my God, this is like a young Joe Biden right here, a younger version of Joe Biden. This would be great if we had this version in the White House right now because Biden was starting to slip or whatever. But and I think Newsom is his own man. He's not. I'm not saying he's just the Biden clone or whatever. But he just was basically, you can see how he would have taken all of Biden's economic programs and just let's say if he was the next president, like right after Biden, he would have just extended all those out and strengthened them, and but he wasn't running this time. But you know what I mean. Just seeing him, I just thought, wow, this is like a Joe Biden, like 20 or 30 years younger or whatever. Old Mom says Gavin Newsom will look good behind the Resolute. Hey man, if he runs, I'll vote for him. Now you guys can hear me okay. A little. Oh. Okay, hopefully I'm back on. I was just going to mention how my little mic here, the little like windscreen thing, came off, and I don't know where it's at, and it kind of pisses me off. But I guess it won't make any difference because it's not windy in here. Anyhow, okay, enough of that. Enough playing with the mic before I lose. Let me make sure I'm still audio. Yeah, it looks like. All right. Old Mom says, did anyone watch the Civil War movie? No. Oh, the movie. Oh, the one that came out like a few years ago, and it's like modern day. Like I have not seen that. I wanted to see that. I have not seen it. Oh, is it on streaming somewhere? Maybe I'll catch it out. Because I did want to see it. And I remember Tom Hartman said he thought it was pretty good. Anna Moore says, how can a leader claiming to be so tough as he claims to be, DJT, bow down to Putin? Right, because he's pathetic. He's not a leader. Alvin Stube, Epstein got let go. Golf Marine says, what Civil War movie? Yeah, it's the one it came out, I guess, was it last year or year before? I don't know. I just thought Christine McVie died last year, and then I think it was Golf Marine or somebody told me, no, that was in 2022. So the Civil War movie may have come out in 2022 for all I know, but it's a fairly recent movie. And it's set in a modern day setting. It's not like the old Civil War, from the 1860s. David Dog says, working in the grow room. I love the smell of chlorophyll in the morning. Week 4 flowering, getting frosty. And MJ Daniel, this part of the intro with the RFK section, I'm sure MJ Daniel was reacting to that. He says, MJ Daniel says, not a doctor, no medical training at all. RFK is going to kill a lot of people. I think he already has, and he's going to be killing. He's going to be responsible, for many, many deaths. They all are. Trump, RFK, Elon Musk with Doge, stopping USAID. It's already started, starvation all over the world. That's all they do. They don't give a fuck. All they care about is enriching themselves, and they don't care how many people they murder in the process. They're just serial killers. That's what they are. Chris Doug's here. Hello, trucklers. Hello, Chris Doug. Good to see you. We got 38 watching, 44 thumbs up. So like the good Democrats we are operating at a surplus. Surplus of thumbs ups. Golf Marine says, dude sounds like an old cassette that's on a junkyard dashboard for 10 years. I think you're talking about RFK Jr. Hopefully, not me. William says, I don't get it that Cheryl Hines is married to RFK Jr. Yeah, what do you see in that guy? Not even talking about the voice, but or whatever, but just his fucking. Maybe she must be a whack job too. Probably, she's probably just a whack job, just like he is. Because I don't know how you could not be a whack job and want to be involved romantically with RFK Jr. David Dog says, "Me too, Anna. I've had all my shots, and when I got COVID, I didn't stay sick but 3 days. My friend who refused to get the vaccine died the next week. Oh, that's so sad, David. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. I got COVID. I mean, I got the. I never got COVID, as far as I know. I got really sick a few times, and I thought maybe I had COVID. Like before, this is before the vaccine and stuff. There was a couple times where I got really, really sick when I was out on the road, and I thought it might have been COVID, but it probably wasn't because I didn't die or anything. And I never went to the hospital. I never saw a doctor. I just wrote it out. But and I never tested, so I don't know. But as soon as the vaccine was available, I got the vaccine and all the boosters I've had. I don't know how many boosters I've had, and I've got at least one old classmate that I can think of that I was in touch with on Facebook. He died, and he didn't get vaccinated or anything. He died, and it was really sad because he was posting as he was dying, like he was in the hospital, and he was posting stuff like, "I'm really sick, guys. I don't think I'm going to make it," and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden there was no post, and then there was a post like from his wife saying, like, thanks guys for all your support or whatever, and there was some kind of like a notice, like an obit type of thing, and I was like, oh my god. Golf Marina says, I got 8 bushies that are stacking up buds in fantastic San Francisco Bay Area outdoors. Now here's with the thumbs up where this is when the show first started. That's where I'm at in the chat. Erin had to go to her appointment. Anna Moore says, how stupid does this RFK Jr. think we are? Unlike this little leader, we do read. Did you get your chair? Not yet. And then I talked about the chair already, so you're all caught up on that, I guess. Golf Marine says it's 75 in the North Bay. William says it's 70 in Philly. There's Sandy Foltz. I'm first in the chat. Yeah, I did see you, Sandy. I saw you in there, and then it sort of just dropped off. But I did see you like way early. Gulf Marine is way mild, even for the San Francisco Bay this summer. Yeah, we've had kind of a cooler summer. And I saw something because it was something about the jet stream wasn't dropping as far down as normal or something like that. That's kind of why we didn't have much of a monsoon season, because this is for us. This is monsoon season, where we get these big monsoons that come in, and we really didn't have too much. There was that one. Remember, I did the video where I got caught in the rain. We had that. That was kind of like a monsoon. And we had some rainy days, but we didn't have like our normal like big dumping. The monsoons are like, they just roll through, and it's just like it's like a big shower head floating through the sky, And we didn't really get too much of that this year. And they said it was something about the jet stream wasn't letting these storm fronts or whatever dip down this far south or something. But it's also why it had something to do with why our temperatures weren't as high. I guess the pressure, we didn't have this high pressure or something. I'm not a whatever, I'm not a weatherman. What am I doing? But yeah, it's been a little cooler. That's all. and I appreciate it. I think I'll take the cooler temperatures over the monsoons, even though we always do need rain and water. But who knows? Who knows what's gonna be like next year? Chris Doug says street and parking garage was flooded again. My Jeep is on the high end, so it was safe. Anymore, your dumpster diving couch looks good. Thank you. It is. It's a nice couch. I like this couch. It's pretty comfortable. I take naps on this couch. I do. I lay down there's something about this couch. If I lay down, I drift off to sleep, man. I'm watching TV, and if I don't want to fall asleep, I've got to sit back up, because if I lay down on this couch, I will knock out. I will just knock out. Sunny Fo says the couch is good for now. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. This is working. Chris, a gamer furniture. Yeah, that is sort of like a gamer chair, but I think it'll work for live streaming. Hopefully it works. Hey, Paul Burrows is here. I have cats. Therefore, I have furniture. Yeah. See, that's why I don't like having pets. I don't like fur all over the place. That's why if I had a dog, like, I would get a non-shedding dog. That's why we had I like the Shih Tzus. Shih Tzus. They're really cute, and they don't shed. Chris Doug, don't let Shady JD near your couch, John. No way, man. This is my couch. If anyone's gonna fuck this couch, it's gonna be me. No. Golfer and Diamond Dog. It's definitely not. It's definitely a lot of work. I did all the work. Although it's about growing stuff, growing things, cultivating things. James Jaramillo, it's 91 in southern Colorado. Colorado. Chris Doug says it's slightly weird to see your reflection in the mirror. Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if I should change the camera angle, and then I was like, nah, just go. I'll just go with it for today. Christina Weilo, Trump Gestapo. Yep. Yeah, that's his little brown shirts there. Susie Jones, Dinky, and Zelensky are talking around the table. Yeah, I've got a feed now. Yeah, I guess this is it. There's Zelensky. I don't have the audio up, but I think there's a bunch of European leaders there, right? Did I see Macron? Was Macron there next to Trump, kind of? I don't know. Anyhow, I don't know. Zelensky's talking right now. I don't know what he's saying. Should I dive into it real quick here? Let's see. This is what really, I think, the most important. Yes, I also we will speak together. We will begin, of course, bilaterally, but I think mostly we can speak about it in city. I think this is good.
Hey, so that was clips from the meeting prior to what we're looking at now.
Oh.
This is really this morning.
So this guy is playing a bunch of different clips. So I don't know what's live right now. But I don't know if anything good is going to come out of that or not. Phil Littner was hopeful and was crossing his fingers, and he seemed to think that something good would come out of it. But still, he was crossing his fingers and being very hopeful of it. So we'll see. Susie Joe says Face the Nation is live streaming. MJ Daniel, building a police state, and Republicans still believe it will not be used against them too. I.E. Johnny's here, says I want to be Jonathan Earl again. I don't like being I.E. Johnny. you can go to your settings, i.e. Johnny, and you can change your handle, your @ You can change it to Jonathan Earl. I'm pretty sure. I read mine. You can change it. I think twice in 14 days or something like that. Go into your settings and you can change it. It's not that hard. Gopuri says, whomever has been fooled into scaring away our food supply labor force is a complete idiot who should face the corner until further notice. Old Mom says, what's wrong with IE, Johnny? Are you from the Inland Empire, by the way, Johnny? Do you live in the Inland Empire? IE, Johnny, I put a lot of work in growing trust, and when the name change came, it's like all that is gone almost. You can change your @ Johnny, I'm telling you. Wait a minute. You could change it to Jonathan Earl. Go to your settings. There's a thing where you can change your name. Chris Doug, tax revenue goes down while spending goes up with Republicans, and then they blame the Democrats. They have done this consistently for the last 40 years. Yeah, at least. At least 40 years. Paul Burrows, I'm just about one toke over the line. Puff, puff, pass. Now you're going to put that song in my head, huh? David Dog, I'd vote for Obama again. Me too. But quite honestly, let's say if Obama was could run again, but he was running against Newsom, I might vote for Newsom. Not because I hate nothing against Obama. I love Obama, but we need to move on. Things are different. This isn't 2008 anymore. Old Mom's Obama 2028. No, look, how old will he be then? In 2028, that's 4 years from now. Have we not learned a lesson? I'm not saying Obama would be too old, but have we not learned a lesson? Obama would only be in 4 years. I'm 64. I think Obama's younger than me, right? Is he younger than me? But he's like 60. So I think anywhere in your 60s, I think you're good. But I think we got to really think twice about ever voting for anyone that's in their 70s ever again, if we expect to get 2 terms out of him. Now, Joe did say he was only going to serve 1 term when he ran the first time. And it turned out to be true, but he should have not ran. But anyhow, because there's we start losing it when you get around 80. I'm not, and I probably have 80-year-old people in this chat, and I don't mean any disrespect. But as far as running a country, and not just any country, but the United States of America, and once you get past 80, we've seen the decline in Joe Biden, and we're seeing a decline in Trump right now. Even going back to Reagan, he got Alzheimer's when he was in his late 70s. So if there's a lesson to be learned, I think we need to not fucking vote for people in their mid to upper 70s to be president until we can get maybe some sort of technology, I don't know, stem cells or nanobots or whatever that make our brains not deteriorate so fast or to have longer lifespan of our brains. Then I don't think we should be electing people in their mid to upper 70s. Not that Obama is. I mean, like I said, he's not. But I'm just saying I would like to see, some younger blood. I think, and I think Gavin Newsom is in that wheelhouse of age in his 50s, the perfect age. I think you just got the right amount of experience and wisdom, and you're not too young, you're not too old. I think in your 50s is sort of the wheelhouse there of age. And I know it's all different for everybody. It's not like a cookie cutter thing. Anyhow, Chris Doug, speaking of Reagan, says Reagan took the millionaire's tax from 80% to near 0 in 8 years. And Reagan, but he had to raise taxes. He lowered them too low, and the economy started crashing. And then he raised them back up a little bit. And I was kind of thinking about that with Trump, if he's going to course correct, and probably not, just because he's so stupid. At least Reagan, I think, not that Reagan was the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but still, I think he's smarter than Trump and had better people around him, better advisors and stuff. And I don't know if Trump will course correct or not. I guess his idea of course correcting is just being the taco thing, the chicken out thing. But I don't know if we can keep doing that forever. Elvis Stu, now we have the worst administration in history. Yep. I.E. Johnny says, or Johnny, what was it? He was our greatest president, and all of the disrespect our country handed him, calling him Mr. Obama, like he's some sort of a substitute teacher. Yeah, I loved Obama. I think he was a great president, and I hate all the revisionist history, even by our side, that want to just like shit on him. When he took us out of a fucking situation, like I said, we were losing 300,000 jobs every single month for the last at least 6 months, I want to say, of Bush's administration. And before that, it wasn't like we were gaining a whole lot when we were on the upside. It wasn't that thing. We were on the verge of a banking collapse. The housing bubble had already burst. We were in a recession. We were almost into a depression. And that's what Obama was handed. And he turned it all around. And even people on our own side, even Democrats, don't want to give that man the credit he deserves. And I think that's disgusting. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And people should be ashamed who try to revise history and just shit on Obama all the time. When he took over a really, really dire situation and led us out of it. Susie Jones says, Dinky dismissed his children returning. Of course he did. He doesn't give a fuck about children. He likes to fuck them. And how many children that he and Jeffrey Epstein were fucking that just disappeared, and no one just disappears. They die. How many just fucking died? They're trying to escape or whatever they did to them, and Trump doesn't give a fuck. He's a homicidal maniac. Donald Trump is. So all you Nazis out there, put that in your pipe and smoke it. If there's any Nazis that happen to be watching right now. Chris Doug says trickle-down economics is the biggest scam of the crooked neoconservative movement. Yeah, and they're still trying to do it. I.E. Johnny says, while telling us that it's not a toilet and his supporters are cheering the whole way down. Yeah. Kevin Anderson, the Troll Slayer. Trucker John 3, Trump is a bully, and if a bully doesn't grow up, you're seeing what happens. And more, Michelle Obama will kill Obama if he runs again. Yeah. Old moms, I'm 70 and I've seen that shit too many times. Alvin Stube, leaders are telling Trump they need to cease fire, but he ain't hearing it. I.E. Johnny says, psychologists are going to look back at this time and study it for a new phenomenon that will become known as mass projection. I think we are going to be looked at pretty harshly, when people look back at this time. There's going to be a lot of, what the fuck were you people thinking? Susie Jones says the European leaders have made it very clear that if he wants to be on the winning side, he needs to be with them. Luck Dragon says, breaking news, my girlfriend just got out of immigration court with her sister and they didn't get picked up by ICE. Praise the Lord. Lucky them. Chris Doug, I didn't vote because I couldn't decide. Nothing like sitting a fence, dumbass. Yeah. See, for me, it's never even been a question. Going back to Reagan, even that was my first presidential election. I voted for Jimmy Carter. It wasn't even fucking close. The decision for me, it wasn't like I was like, let's see, who should I? I was like, yeah, Jimmy Carter, man, all the way. I'm like, I remember Reagan. I'm old enough to remember when Reagan was the governor of California, and I remember he was like, he would do the opening of the Wagon Train or something or whatever this show, and so I'm like, that dude's running for president. That fucking dude. I'm like, give me a break. And here we got Jimmy Carter, who is putting solar panels on the White House. Of course, I'm going to vote for that guy. He's, you know. But Ronald Reagan getting elected, that should have been a big tip off of about how easily swayed the American electorate could be. Just because Reagan could read a script and portray this kind of tough guy or whatever. And Jimmy Carter was just a kind, gentle soul of a man. And people liked the strong lead, this perceived strong leader in Reagan. When all he was a shitty actor and a shitty governor. James Hermino, Texas Paul was livid yesterday. Yeah, he was livid. And that part, I think he needs to clip it, or maybe I'll go back and I'll just screenshot it. And the reason I'm hesitant to do that, I don't want Texas Paul to think I'm screenshotting his shit and I'm trying to get views off of it. That's why I wish he would clip it. Maybe he has or something. But if anyone can get a hold of Texas Paul, he needs to clip that section and just fucking pump that out to every outlet, every social media platform. He needs to hammer that shit down, man. Or whatever I was saying the other day. But if I screenshot it, at least it's not like I'm going to get 1 million views, and so if I do it, I'll probably get 50 views. I don't know if Paul would be mad at me. I just don't want to have it be looked at in the wrong way. I'm just trying to promote that because I think it was powerful what he was saying about voting and getting up off your fucking ass and vote. No excuses. No goddamn excuses. We can't fuck around. If we fuck this one up, we're done, son. If we fuck this one up, 2026 and 2028, we're done. Especially 2026. We'll probably be done. There might not be a 2028 if we don't show up for 2026. So that section of his of yesterday's live stream, he needs to clip that and just pump it out. That's my opinion, anyhow. Mr. Bob Newell, I can't hear you. Is this the new studio? It's the same. It's the same studio, just the other side of it. And it is a studio apartment, so I guess I could say that I have a studio. I never even thought of that. Yeah, I live in a studio apartment, so I could just say, if it came up in conversation, yeah, I have a studio. I do have a studio. This is my studio. Mr. Bob Newell, have you been to Walcott, Iowa? I have. I'm pretty sure. I think that's the home of what's his face? My favorite NASCAR driver. Jeff. What's Jeff's last name? Come on. Why? See, this is why you don't vote for old people to be president. The greatest NASCAR driver after Earnhardt and before Jimmy Johnson, Jeff, the Rainbow Warrior guy or whatever. Come on. I think he's from Walcott, Iowa. May have been raised in California or something, but I think he was born in Walcott, Iowa. Why do I remember that? But I can't remember the motherfucker's name. Guys, you're witnessing in real time me losing my brain. Kevin Anderson says, Trucker John, I agree with Mrs. Texas Paul. I agreed with her saying your husband is right, and she said we all need people to speak out. Okay. Chris Doug says, I'm going to repeat this ad nauseum. Please refer to Governor Newsom as President Gavin from now on. Drive MAGA insane. That's a good idea. That's a good one. That is a good one. Damon Dog, I'd vote for Hunter Biden just to watch MAGA explode. Josh is here. Hey, Josh, good to see you. Josh Sees. Good to see Josh Sees. Thanks for hopping on into the old driver's lounge. Hey, Johnny says, we can hear you just fine. Deck guys just attempting to troll. Chris Doug, check under the fridge. I don't know what that's about. Hey, Robert Perez from down San Diego way. Good to see you, Robert. Thanks for coming on in and hanging out with us. Bob Perez, or Robert Perez, says, hello, Trucker John, and all fans of liberty and justice. Susie Joe says, twat strikes again, meeting in the future, talking in circles. David Dog says, the new Civil War movie was good, but I can't see a California-Texas alliance. Spoiler alert! Anyhow, I can. It wasn't too long ago that Texas was fucking blue. It really wasn't that long ago. It was within my lifetime, within my voting lifetime. Old moms, I'm down to 3 live streams. My mental health can't deal right now. Yeah, well, take care of your mental health. That's important. And if you need to take breaks from this shit, take breaks. But just don't go away forever, because we need you. We're going to need you come voting time, that's for sure. Susie Jones, they're walking back to the Oval Office. Susie says they're having a closed-door meeting in the Oval Office. Chris Doug, oops, forgot to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. We got 44 watching, 53 likes. We are good Democrats operating at a surplus. But still, if you haven't, hit the like, and subscribe and share and all that stuff. We're climbing up there, 39.50. I think we're less than 50 away from dandelion eating time. Chris Doug, John, you probably have had COVID multiple times. There was at least twice before the vaccine was available. I was on the road, and I remember at least twice getting so sick, so sick. And I remember being on the phone talking to my daughter, going, "I think I have COVID," and she's like, "You probably do," and she was sick too. She goes, "I think I have it too," but she did end up getting it. I think both my son and daughter ended up getting it, and that was before the vaccine, and then they got vaccinated. But we probably all did. I don't know. And we were just lucky that we weren't like severe cases that, were like the people that died. Anyhow, Richard here says, I lost my taste buds when I got COVID. You know what? I have noticed. Now, I've read things about how as you get older, your taste buds die, and that by the time you're in your 60s or even your 50s, that half of your taste buds are dead. Because I've noticed things that don't taste as good as they used to. So I'm wondering, I don't know if that's just from being old and half my taste buds have died, or if maybe I did get COVID, because they do say that's one of the things. But I mean, I can still taste stuff, but it just seems like things aren't as flavorful as they used to be. You know what I mean? Like bacon. Everyone loves bacon, but it seems like bacon isn't as flavorful to me as it used to be. So now I'm like, why am I even eating bacon anymore? Because it's not, bacon used to have just this real strong bacony flavor, right? And now it just seems kind of like I'm just chewing on some fatty meat from a pig. So I don't know. Hey, VD Hertz is here. Good to see VD. Still complaining about Johnny Million. Let it go, VD Hertz. Let it go, man. VD says, well, Johnny Million para-blocked me. I don't know what that means. From Hal's chat. Andrea emailed me, apologized. He called it rage baiting when I brought up Kiss attending Kennedy Center honors. What the fuck? Well, whatever, dude. I mean, that's between you and Johnny, I guess. I just thought it was kind of funny that I don't mean to downplay. I know that's important to you, but like here we are. We're still talking about the Johnny Million thing. But yeah, perma blocked. Like it's permanently blocked, I guess. I guess if there's one way you want to get blocked from Hal Sparks channel or Hal Sparks live stream, it's the shit talk Kiss, because both Johnny and Hal are huge Kiss fans. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's right or that you didn't have a right to your opinion, and maybe you're. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm just saying if you want to get blocked, if there's one way, one certain way that you want to get blocked from the House Sparks live stream, talk shit about Kiss. That's probably you'll get it. If you're looking to get blocked, you're going to get blocked for doing that. I'm just saying, man. Because I think one time I made a little disparaging comment about Kiss. I didn't get blocked, but I think you know how Hal reads the chats and stuff, and I think he saw it, but didn't say anything because he's mentioned me before. Sometimes some of my chats, and he's laughed at them and mentioned and called my name out. But I one time I made this little thing about Kiss where I kind of broke down. Like I was like I think I said Gene Simmons. What did I say? I think I just described each of the originals. I go, I always liked Peter Criss. I thought he was a cool dude. Paul Stanley seems like a really nice guy. Gene Simmons seems like a real. I think I said asshole, but I think I was a little more descriptive than that. I said something about. I forget exactly how I worded it because then Ace Frehley. For Ace Frehley, I said that Ace Frehley was really this pretentious kind of douchebag. And I'm pretty sure Hal saw it and refrained from making comment on it, or just kind of. I just had the feeling, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have posted that. Anyhow, moving on. Let's see. Josh C says my brother still can't smell anything other than gasoline and a couple other things. VD Hertz, I just get the feeling Johnny Million doesn't give a shit about politics. Well, no, I don't think he does. And especially when he's doing his show, his music, his guitar playing show, he doesn't want any politics whatsoever. And I don't blame him. He wants it just to be about the music and no politics. If you're on Hal's show, it's different. That's a political show. But like I said, if there's one sure way to get blocked from there, just talk shit about Kiss. You probably get blocked. Bob Perez says, I heard that Trump only picked the band Kiss because of the Nazi SS runes at the end of the band's name. That sounds like Trump, It sounds like something he would do. Alvin Stube, Taco Pizza count? Hi, Johnny. I welcome the Ice Age. David Dog, Josh, if it's not too bad, I'd just cut all the way and save the plant. Oh, this was pot plant talk going on, and I'm mid-thread on that. I'm a bit mid-thread on that, so we'll just skip on through it. It's not my area of expertise. Not that I don't know if I have any area of expertise on anything, actually, come to think of it. David Dog, I live in fur. When I sweep, I end up with enough fur to make another cat. See, that's guys. That's why I don't put up with that shit. That's why I don't have cats. I don't have dogs. Like I said, if I had one, if I had a dog, it'd be like a Shih Tzu, something that doesn't shed, and plus they're so cute and adorable. And I would get. If I had a cat, it would be no more than one cat, and hopefully a cat that doesn't shed, and not those stupid ones with no fur. Those ugly, wrinkly ones. No, I'm not having that kind of a cat. I want one with fur, but I want it that doesn't shed all over the fucking place. So you gotta be true to yourselves, man. I mean, you don't like the fur, then don't have the thing around that's making the fur all over the place. Whatever. Richard from Down Under's here. Trump, the convicted felon and serial rapist, as POTUS. What the fuck? I know, right? When you say that, it just doesn't make sense. And the only way that people who can make sense of it, that vote for him, is they live in denial. Total 100% denial. They blame everybody else, and they say Trump is innocent. It's all the deep state. It's all the left-wing media coming after him or whatever, But Perez, I never noticed, Johnny, but are you sporting a mullet? Well, no, it's just a little long in the back. Business in the front, party in the back. No, actually, it's just bald in the front. Bald in the front and party in the back. Chris Doug quotations. If anyone's going to fuck this couch, it's going to be me. That as soon as I said that, I thought that might be a keeper. That might be a keeper. I don't know. Josh C says, Damon, I'm thinking of prevent the spread. I trimmed. Okay, I'm going to skip pot growing talk because I'm mid-thread. I'm mid-thread on it. I.E. Johnny says, yeah, YouTube changed my name. I don't know if you're talking about this Johnny or someone else, but I want my name back. I don't want to be I.E. Johnny. Well, we were talking just recently about Johnny Million, but as far as I.E. Johnny, I.E. you can change your @ handle. You can go in your settings and you can change it. Just do it, man. You can do it. Susie Jones says cost $420,000 to employ the guard a day to throw out homeless people. What the actual fuck? Oh yeah, they have no problem dropping money when it comes to this. But God forbid you want to spend some money on SNAP, you want to spend some money on Medicaid. Oh no, can't do that. But we can drop, or you want to drop $200 million on a stupid ballroom that we don't need. You want to drop $1 billion to rehab or whatever that fucking plane. No problem there. But when it comes to doing things that actually count and help people, oh no. We can't do that. Mr. Bob, no, I went to zoo. They had only one dog. It was Shih Tzu. It was Shih Tzu. That joke didn't really work with me. Richard says Trump should have been behind bars a long time ago. I agree. I 100% agree. Michael McAndrews, just truck it. Truck it. Just truck it. Richard said there's no longer a Republican Party, but rather a Trump-looking party. Johnny, yes, sir. I live in the Inland Empire. I was born in Rialto in 1981. the home I grew up at made the papers 3 days in a row. Must have been a quiet news week. I know where Rialto is. I grew up in Apple Valley in Victorville, right on the other side of the mountains there from you, right on the other side of the Cajon Pass. So yeah, way back before we used to not have malls and shit. So to do most of our big shopping, we would have to go over the pass into San Bernardino and go shopping there at the mall. That's when the San Bernardino Mall was kind of cool. Now it's all pretty much like a ghost town in there. Let's see here. Josh C says, I've got wedding cake, rainbow glue, and forbidden cheetah piss? White rum. I don't even know it. Is that more pot talk? That's what I get for reading pot talk, because you guys, that shit goes right over my head. Richard, expat American in here watching from Australia. Yeah, I know, and it's like bright and early morning for you. Richard says Newsom would be a great POTUS. I agree. I agree with you. Mr. Bundle, is Reagan still alive? Nope. He's worm food. Christina Weibel says, I started writing everything down. I know it's a little late, but I have to do this for my health. Oh, Jeff Gordon, by the way. I believe Jeff Gordon is from whatever town that was. That's how it works. That's how the brain works now. Josh, these hemorrhoids, Michael, or an actual porcupine in your yard? I'm mid-threading some conversations now. Christina Weibel says Epstein survivors will be testifying in front of Congress September 2nd. Thanks for that reminder. I think Christina brought that up yesterday, and that's something that we need to have just brought up every day so we don't miss it. Robert Perez says, I'm telling you, Johnny, he's the Antichrist. I guess Trump is the Antichrist. If he is the Antichrist and biblical prophecy is true or coming true, then I guess there's nothing we can do to stop the 1,000-year reign or whatever. What happens next? What happens after the Antichrist? I guess is that do we have the what do you call it when everything goes up? Kevin Anderson says one of the worst things Nixon did was when Elvis asked for an official police badge. Nixon was like, "Sure, here you go." Yeah, and not to go to law school. And the irony is that Elvis was pretty much popping a whole drugstore worth of drugs every day into his system. Oh man. Richard, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Mr. Abdul, can a prior president run for vice president? Well, you know what? I don't think there's anything in the Constitution that prevents that. And the only thing is, okay, so if you're the vice president, if something happens to the president, where the president becomes incapacitated, i.e., dies or goes into a coma, I guess, or whatever, then the vice president would take over and become president. So how would that work? Because they've got the term limits. So would that mean it would bypass the vice president and just go right to the Speaker of the House? In that case, in that scenario, then the Speaker of the House will become president? But as far as I know, Yeah, William says Reagan was Death Valley. Yeah, Death Valley days. Yeah, that was what it was. He would basically just like introduce that episode or whatever, and he would stand there with his fucking cowboy hat on, like he's a fucking cowboy, and he was just a stupid, shitty actor. I could fucking act better than that motherfucker. Damon Dog, no one runs for vice president. They are chosen by the person running for president. Yeah, we don't have. Yeah, you don't really run for it. It's part of a ticket. It's a ticket. Chris Doug, as governor of California, Reagan attacked the public school, public library, and public services funded by taxpayers. Susie Jones says, of course, a vice president can run for President Obama or Biden. No, but he was asking. Yeah, Biden was vice president, and then he ran for president. So could you? It's like the reverse of that. Could a former president be on the ticket as vice president? You know, that was what he was asking. Michael B. Andrews is here. Michael says Trumpy almost murdered his last vice president. Yeah, you know, he unleashed his goons on January 6th, and they were hunting him down. They built the fucking gallows. They were going to hang his ass. E. Johnny says, I have failed at my attempt to change my name. You kept telling me something went wrong. Try again later. Or it kept telling me something went wrong. Well, I don't know that. I'm sorry. Sorry if I gave you bad advice, but I know that I have changed mine a few times in the past, and I never had any problems. But I don't know. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Maybe you can't. I don't know. If I gave you wrong advice, I apologize. Hey, Roxanne79 is here. Howdy, Trucker John and Loungers. Happy Monday. Thanks for coming on in. You guys, you and Jen must be having so much fun that you guys hardly ever come in anymore. You just left us all behind. You've forgotten me. Anna Moore says former President Jimmy Carter had an educational background in engineering. Richard says, yes, I remember the Jan 6 rioters yelling, hang Mike Pence. Yep. Hang Mike Pence, and where's Nancy? Nancy, where's Nancy? MJ Daniel says, every excuse I heard for not voting for Harris or Clinton, I think, came from the Republicans. Probably right. And then the ones that didn't vote for him, they just didn't say anything, and they just didn't show up. And I don't know. Yeah, Gordon. Yeah, Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Mario Andretti. But I did, at least, it did finally pop into my head before I got to this section. But as far as, the Harris or Clinton, well, Clinton had 3 million more votes. So, there was a lot of people on board for Clinton. It was just our stupid electoral college that fucked us over on that. Bill Deacon. Hey, Bill Deacon chiming in. Hey, Bill, good to see you. Says, no, he was born in Indiana. Oh. Maybe he grew up in Walcott, Iowa? I don't know. I remember somewhere near a truck stop, near a Love's truck stop. The only reason I know this, and I may be wrong about the city, but there was like this big sign, a road sign, right next to the Love's truck stop, and I thought it said something like "Home of Jeff Gordon," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Because I was, and I guess I still am, a big Jeff Gordon fan back in the day. I don't really watch NASCAR all that much anymore. But I used to watch it, especially when Jeff Gordon was racing. And one year for Christmas, I bought myself and I bought my dad. That black one is a black Jeff Gordon jacket, and then I had the one that's more of his regular colors. And so we had our little matching Jeff Gordon jackets. That's me and my dad. And just a couple years before my dad passed away. But there we are in our matching little jackets there. Let's see if I can kind of shrink that down a little bit. We'll put me and my dad up there for the rest of the show, I guess. In our matching little Jeff Gordon jackets. Roxanne, it was Jeff Gordon, Bill Deacon, Pittsburgh, Indiana, the birthplace. Well, maybe he was born there, and then maybe they moved down to Walcott or whatever the hell it was. Sandy Foltz is back from her doctor appointment. Hope all went well on that. On your appointment. As does James Jaramillo. Susie Jones says we have an addict in charge of NIH. Why not President Go Hunter 28? MJ Daniel, I do not know. The older NASCAR drivers started out running moonshine because of a Penthouse article. I've heard that that's how it all started. They were running moonshine, and they would build these cars up, and then on the weekends they'd go race at Daytona and shit, you know. Josh sees the NASCAR motto "Go fast, turn left" would be better applied politically. Oh yeah. Oh, Chris Doug, check under the fridge was a reference to the mic piece that was missing. Yeah, I don't know why it would be way over there. I have a feeling it's back over there by the other chair or something, but I don't know. Hey, look at John from Las Vegas is here. Hey, John, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. John from Las Vegas says there's a hilarious video where Jeff Gordon, in disguise, poses as a cab driver and scares the shit out of his passenger. That's funny. MJ Daniel, where did the Texas of Ann Richards go? It got gerrymandered. Although gerrymandering doesn't affect governor, but it affected everything else, or at least as far as the House is concerned, the House seats and stuff. MJ Daniel, LBJ was Texan too. They have fallen far. Yeah. Old Mom says Texas isn't a red state. It's heavily gerrymandered state. Yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't for the gerrymandering, I think we would see a whole different, at least a very purple state. I believe. And I believe that Ken Paxton has done a lot, not only with gerrymandering, but in not counting votes. There were reports of him not counting hundreds of thousands of votes, of ballots, that were all primarily Democratic areas. So I don't know why that didn't get looked into more. Maybe I keep bringing up something that has been sort of debunked or something. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just stupid for keep bringing it up. MJ Daniel, surprised my taste buds will still work at all after all the spicy food I eat. Roxanne says Jen made some delicious hot honey. We put it on fried shrimp. It was awesome. Wow. Roxanne, every time you come on now lately, you make me hungry. Talking about all the great food that Jen has been cooking, and now I'm jealous. I wish Jen was my boyfriend. I'm just kidding. Christina Wywoke seems like I have to do a 420 every 30 minutes. Susie Jones or Kevin or no, this is Kevin Anderson saying at Susie Jones, I miss him even more. I think we're talking about Biden. I miss him more than I miss him more than any MAGA will ever even bother to know. Now they are even coming out saying, maybe Joe was right. And I can't blame the MAGAs really for giving us Trump. I blame the Democrats that didn't vote. And I know there's a whole thing about cheating and all that kind of stuff. And I have to push that to the side right now because there's no evidence. I haven't seen any evidence, any proof. It's all speculation. But it's something there that we need to keep in mind. But just as things were, what we have on paper, it's like tens of millions of people didn't vote that should have voted. They stayed home, and that was what was Texas Paul was getting so livid about. I'm not sure what that MJ Daniels one's about. Sometimes I get a little lost, or I'm so behind. I don't know what that one was referring to. So I'm kind of skipping down a little bit. My last haircut. I am looking at the hair, and it is kind of long. My last haircut, I got it just before my daughter's wedding, and I think I usually have them cut it a little bit shorter than I did, and this time I had her leave it a little bit longer. And now I'm thinking I probably should have had her cut it a little shorter. But whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. RLB 212020. Wait, 220. I don't know if we know you by another name, and I can't really see your icon very well. It's very tiny. So I don't know if we know you by something else, but I'll just say welcome and thanks for being here. I do appreciate you coming on in. And RLB wanted to make a comment about Ace Frehley, saying Ace collects Nazi memorabilia, by the way. Just found out that from Hal a few days ago. And yeah, as much as, I like Kiss as much as the next guy. And I had a few of their albums back in the day when I was in high school and stuff. And I think they were, whatever, you like them, you don't like them. Ace Frehley was a big part of them coming up in the 70s. I mean, that was all Ace Frehley. He wrote a lot of those songs. He co-wrote a lot of those songs. He co-wrote a lot of those riffs, and he was a lead guitarist, very good. He's a very defining part of the sound of Kiss. But having said all that, the guy can go fuck himself. He's a fucking if he is. I don't care what your excuse is for collecting Nazi memorabilia. If you're collecting it and you're keeping it in your home, then that's disgusting. It's one thing to put it in some sort of a museum, like if you want to put it in some sort of historical museum and preserve it for history and about the lesson, not to forget, because we don't want to repeat, because what's the saying? Those that don't know the history are doomed to repeat it. So yeah, I think we from a historical sense, that type of stuff I think is important to preserve and put it into a museum, like a hate museum or whatever they call it. But to just collect it for yourself and put it on your own, have your shelf that you're putting your Nazi shit on. That's pretty disgusting. And display it. What do? You have friends come over and you're like, look at this, I got some new Nazi shit, man. If I had a friend like that, that person would not be my friend at all. From that second on, I would leave. Josh says, can we vote on a pet for TJ? Well, if I have a pet, then I got to pay like extra rent and I got to pay an extra deposit, and so there's that. Is it worth it? Is the pet worth it? Now, I do like me a little Shih Tzu. I think Shih Tzus are just adorable, and they don't shed. So that's two things that they got going for them. They're adorable as fuck, and they don't shed. So if I did get a dog, it would probably be a Shih Tzu. But that dog's going to cost me extra money in rent and deposit, and then I got to buy food. Then I got to go to groomers. I got to go to the vet for checkups. I mean, it's like having a fucking kid. For crying out loud. You guys want to put all that extra fucking responsibility on me? Tim Farrell's here. Tim says, it's a little hypocritical to not call out Kiss for sitting in a box seat at the Kennedy Center with a pedo rapist. Hal always says he'd hate on Clinton or any one of those found on the list. Well, I don't think they're going. Unless I heard wrong. I thought I heard that Paul Stanley was not going to go, and then I thought I also heard then that Gene wasn't going to go. Like, if Paul's not going, then I think Gene said he's not going to go. So I don't know who's going to show up. Is Peter Criss going to show up? Is Ace really going to? Ace might show up because he's a fucking Nazi, and he's like, yeah, he could relate. But anyhow, I don't think Paul's showing up. But I don't know. What's the latest news? Maybe you guys have later update on that than I do. Kevin Anderson, Chris Doug, heck, the American, like America, don't like them. They even parodied one of their song calling it was I was made for killing you. I was made for killing you, baby. That's their disco song. Well, that wasn't killing. But Kiss went disco, as a lot of bands did during the disco era. The record companies were saying, "You guys have got to make us. You guys got to put something out there." Kiss did Another One Bites the Dust. I think that was kind of their version of a disco. And then Kiss had this one, and there were probably some other examples. Disco, did horrible things to some good bands. Damon Dog says, you'd love my little Gigi. She takes her baths. She pulls hair out. She's done that her whole life. She's 14 now. Oh, little Gigi. Roxanne 79 says, I don't miss shedding fur. I like doodle dogs. 2, no shedding and only little ones under 20 pounds so I can pick them up. Yeah, my daughter has one of those big-ass snickerdoodles or whatever they're called. Charlie, and Charlie's an awesome dog. I love Charlie. And I don't think he sheds either. I think he's a non-shedding dog. And he's a pretty awesome dog, actually. But he's big. He's like a big fucker. When he stands up on his hind legs, he'll like when I go in there, I go to my daughter's, he'll get up on his hind legs and we're almost eye to eye. I mean, that's how fucking tall. That's how tall he is when he gets up on his hind legs. Maybe not eye to eye, but he's probably somewhere down here. But he's a big fucker, man. Tim Farrell says Tom Cruise refused Kennedy honor. For that, principal Kiss should make a principal send. Like I said, if maybe you guys need to update me, or if anyone has an update, but I thought I heard that at least Paul Stanley wasn't going, and then I thought I heard that Gene was not going. So, if anyone has an update on that, go ahead, feel free to put that in the chat. Put that in the chat room. Just skip it down a little bit here. Roxanne79 says, shit, I've been in top chat. I hate that when it happens. MJ Daniel says, when I was in grade school and junior high, the big trip was to drive an hour to the Tri-Cities from Walla Walla to the mall, then go to Farrell's for ice cream. Oh, yeah, Farrell's. They still have some down in SoCal. I'm out of water and I'm out of coffee. But, yeah, Farrell's, like whenever we would go, they had a Farrell's. We lived out in Apple Valley, right? Out in the desert. And so if we went to like a Dodger game or Disneyland, or we visited relatives down in the valley or out in Simi Valley, and then usually on the way home, there was a Farrell's. And a lot of times, we're like, let's stop at Farrell's, and so that would be our deal. We'd go in and get a big old fucking hot fudge sundae is what I would get. Search for you. How old is Al Gore? I think he's in his 70s, right? Got to be in his 70s, mid 70s by now, I think. Christina Weilo says the vice president is picked. JD is under investigation, and so is the speaker. They're all under investigation. I did just see where, Johnson, Speaker of the House, there's under investigation for campaign finance violations. Lock his ass up. He was using campaign funds to pay, what I read, to pay for rent. So, what the fuck is that all about? Lock his little puny ass up. That's all I got to say about that. Josh brings up an interesting thing. Think of where we would be if Al Gore hadn't conceded. We would probably. I don't think anything would have changed. Actually, he could have not conceded all he wanted, but the Supreme Court the fix was already in. They were going to do what they were going to do, whether Al Gore conceded or not, and the Congress was going to swear in the next president no matter what, based on that decision. And so I don't think anything would have changed, actually. Now, I wish he would have made a stink, and I wish he would have made a stronger stand about it. But the Supreme Court, it was already, I think it was already in there, Damon Dog says, I just reread the 22nd Amendment, very ambiguous. I may need to be high to comprehend it. I happen to have a pocket constitution. Let's see, right here. Look at there. Trucker John's I got my own little constitution. I'm going to go to the 22nd Amendment real quick. Let's see what it says. Where is the 22nd Amendment? It's all in Roman numerals. Motherfuckers, put it in fucking English, man. I'm supposed to figure out what all these X's mean and shit. I think this is the 22nd, XXII. I, Trucker John, hereby propose we don't use Roman numerals. If we're gonna push a stink about metric, I'm gonna make a stink about Roman numerals. Anyhow, I believe this is the 22nd Amendment. XXII. Section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of president when this article was proposed by the Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding the office of the president or acting as president during the term within which this article became operative from holding the office of the president or acting president during the remaining of such term. So that means when they put this into law, like when Roosevelt or whatever, it didn't apply, right? Section 2. This article shall be inoperative unless, this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission to the states by the Congress. So that's just your standard boilerplate a way that a amendment is ratified. So that means if you took over as vice president, let's say, and you held the office for more than 2 years of a term that some other person was elected, then you could only be elected one more time. But let's say it was less than 2 years. The president died or became incapacitated, and you became the president, and with 6 months to go, or 9 months to go, or a year to go, or even, I guess, a year and 5 months, or 5 months and 39 days, or whatever. Then you could run for president, and you could be elected to 2 terms. That's all that's saying. That wasn't that hard. All right. Roxanne79 says, "Oh, TJ, you missing me and Jen? We were bummed we missed the beginning too, but had errands to run, and I wanted to take Jen out to lunch." All right, you guys, you little lovebirds. I'll allow it. Search for you. Are the Republicans pissed off yet? Anyone hearing any rumblings? Well, they're fighting each other. They're at each other's throats, man. Now I can't get that Kiss song out of my head. Thank you very much, whoever brought that up. I was made for loving you, baby. That should be maybe Jen and Roxanne's song. You were made for loving me, baby. That should be your guys' song, man. Klato Barato Nitko's here. I haven't seen Klato in a long time. Thanks for being here, Klato Barato Nitko. Says Trump and the USA got used bad on Friday by Putin. What a sad day. And dumbass Trump did not. Or did he know it? Da-da-da-da. Or did he? A little suspenseful there, huh? Mr. Spock, watching NASCAR is like going in circles. Haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate, man. Christina Weibel says, y'all ever see a Bug's Life movie? I did, but it's been probably 20 years since I watched it or whatever. Anyhow, but I remember enjoying it. That was back when my kids were young, and we had to watch every Disney movie, every Pixar movie, every whatever, But Bug's Life was good though. Anyhow, it says the grasshoppers fighting the ants. Head grasshopper says, if one ant stands up, the rest will too. We are the ants people. He didn't say that. That's sort of end quote. Then Christina is saying, we are the ant people. Yeah, we all need to stand up. We need to stand up to them. Jolie says, oh, such a cute pic. Thanks, Jolie. That was me and my dad. Probably around 2010. I'm thinking my dad died in 2012. I think this was just a couple years before he died. Damon says, great jackets, TJ. What a wonderful memory with your dad. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, man. Bill Deacon says, Jeff Gordon was born in Pittsburgh, Indiana. His stepfather moved his family to California to begin his career in NASCAR. Well, I knew that he lived in California or grew up there. Maybe I have it wrong, but I remember being at a Love's truck stop, and I thought it was somewhere. I thought it was like Walcott, Iowa, or whatever the fuck. And they had this big old sign. Maybe he moved there after or something. I don't know. There was something about Jeff Gordon lived here or something. David Dog says politicians should have to wear jackets like that with the patches of all their corporate sponsors. Yeah, I've seen some of the old what do you call it? Now everything's AI, but back then it was all whatever you call it, and where people would put that like on. That was back when. Why am I forgetting everybody's name? The guy who cried all the time. The guy who always cried. The drunk who cried. The House Speaker. The drunk House Speaker that always cried. I remember seeing some memes where they put those type of jackets on them and stuff. So that's been going around a long time. Damon Dog, Daytona should go back to beach racing. Grumpy Moose 72 is here. Hey, Grumpy Moose. Thanks for dropping on in. Grumpy Moose says the president is an addict as well, so why not? He's a Sudafed sniffer. Remember the pic from Oval Office with the desk full of cold medicine? I don't remember that actually. And was that enhanced or whatever AI type of thing? Photoshop was what I was trying to say. The old John, whatever the fuck, picture with him passing out checks, and I think they photoshopped a jacket like that, or a racing suit or something with all the sponsors on it. Mr. Spock, my brother raced at Daytona '84. Awesome. That's pretty awesome. Grumpy Moose, Ken Paxton is absolute garbage. I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely 100%. That's for sure. Chris Doug says someone posted that Texas has 8 million registered Democrats and only 6.5 million registered Republicans. Something is rotten down there in the Lone Star State. Yep, and that's a good illustration of what gerrymandering will do. At least for those, for the House seats, that's what it'll do. I don't know what the excuse is for Ted Cruz, other than Ken Paxton not counting Democratic votes. That's probably where that comes in. I think, and for governor, I think Beto will probably beat Wills. I mean, Abbott. And I think the guy running against Cruz, what was his name? See, I can't remember the guy's name. He probably won too. They just didn't count their votes. Because Paxton is the man in charge of that shit. And he's got the full backing of, of Abbott and everything. So Jeff Hodges says, "Hi, I wish I had a hot bear like you for a boyfriend." You talking about me? Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. I mean, you think I'm hot? You think I'm hot? That's funny. Anyhow, I don't think I'm hot. I think I'm old and fat and disgusting. Billy Kid, Trucker John, Pittsburgh, Indiana has a big sign, birthplace of NASCAR champion. Maybe it was Pittsburgh. I don't know. Maybe. Jeff Gordon, could that be the sign you saw? Is the sign next to a Love's truck stop? Can you Google Earth it or something? Do you know? Maybe it was Pittsburgh, Indiana. I get Pittsburgh, Indiana, and Walcott, Iowa mixed up all the time. No, I don't know. Maybe that was it. If there's a Love's truck stop right off the highway and the sign is right next to the Love's truck stop, then that would solve our mystery. Man, you guys were counting down for 420, weren't you? Grumpy Moose says, think what you want about Biden. He got good results and was smart enough to appoint people who knew what they were doing. Yes! And like I always say, and I said at the whole beginning of the show, we are always our economy, just using our economy as the basis of what's good and what's bad. I mean, I know there's more to life than just the economy, but just looking at our economic numbers going from Reagan to now, it's just this pattern. Republicans, they run up the deficits and the debt, and they raise unemployment, wages go down or are stagnant, and Democrats get in and they clean all that shit up and they turn things around every single time. Clinton did it, Obama did it, and Biden did it. They cleaned up the fucking Republicans' mess, got us going in the good directions, in the right direction, and then people don't vote for whatever reason. They get complacent, they sit on their asses, they don't vote, and they let these Republicans back in, and the Republicans come in and they fuck it up every single time. That's what I was talking about earlier in the show, and that's what Texas Paul got really, really livid about. And I highly suggest you look up yesterday's show of Texas Paul, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I really think that segment should be clipped and just put on blast, as the kids say. As the kids like to say. Clato Brato Nico says, Trucker John 3, 100% correct. I blame it on the Dems that stayed home while we got this Confederate asshole in the White House. Can't stay home, people. This is what you get when you stay home. So now our grocery prices are going up. Everything's going to go up. Back to school shopping, Christmas shopping, our rents, everything's going to go up. We're going to be, millions and millions of people are going to lose their health care, their health insurance. Medicaid is getting the shit knocked out of it. And it's all because people staying home. We can't stay home. We can't sit anymore. Days of sitting, and now, and in the intro, you saw that Gavin Newsom made a point about these so-called ICE agents, these officers that are federalized. Gavin Newsom is afraid that that's what we're going to see at the polling places. And even if they don't do anything, just by being there and trying to intimidate people, how many people are not going to show up because they're afraid they might be a certain skin tone and it's going to get them yanked out and thrown into a car and shipped off somewhere. So that's why they're going to be doing all of this all the way up until the elections of next year for the midterms. We're going to just keep seeing more and more and more of this because they want to instill that fear so that people will be, and that's why he wants to get rid of mail-in voting and everything has to be done, in person. So we're not going to have mail-in voting if he has his way. And everyone has to go and stand in line. And if you are a person of a darker skin color, especially if it's a brownish color, how many videos are people going to see of people getting jumped and tackled and handcuffed and thrown into a car and disappeared and thrown into some fucking alligator Auschwitz? We're going to see that over and over and over and over again, all the way for the next year and a half. And how is that going to affect the turnout? That's what this is about. That's what it's all about. Intimidation to make people too afraid to vote. Mr. Spock, your place is huge, TJ. You should invite your friend over in the other room to say hello. Oh, yeah, that guy back there. He's ignoring me. But he has a nice couch. Grumpy Moose, Biden has an aging brain. Rump has an aging and demented brain. Yeah, his brain has been demented for a long time. Yeah. Talking about Trump. I'm talking about Trump. I need to go get some more water because I am getting sitting here talking makes me very. Although we are over 2 hours, I might just have to end the show. I don't know. But talking makes me very thirsty. And I'm out of water and out of coffee. And the way I'm set up here, I'm kind of like trapped. I'm trapped like a rat in a cage. Grumpy Moose says, I was Kiss fan when I was a kid, when I was like 10. I'm 53 now. Laughing out loud. James Hermio, I have 3 Shih Tzus. Aren't they the cutest little buggers? They are the cutest little fuckers, aren't they? And they know it. That's the thing. They know how cute and adorable they are, so they take advantage of that cuteness. They think they can get away with everything. Roxanne79 says, maybe we should get TJ to smoke that dandelion and work up to some bud. I ain't smoking no damn dandelion, okay? I'm barely want to even eat the damn thing. But I said I would, and I don't think it's fatal or anything like that. I don't think it's so I'll do it. David Dog, well, John, did you get a new vacuum? Have we not talked about my new vacuum ad nauseum? I mean, I bought the thing. It's been a couple of months ago, but I did a whole thing on the vacuum. I think I opened it on the live stream from the box. Anyhow, want to test this endurance? Get a cat. Oh well. Oh, it says. Oh, okay. Wait, it says. Well, you did get the new vac. Oh, okay. I misread that. Sorry about that. Yeah, get a cat. No, I'm good. I'm good. Susie Jones says Kiss broke up for a reason. I don't know. Jeff Hodge says, when I was younger, I didn't let politics influence what I watched, like etc. 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 It's kind of hard not to, though, now. I mean, especially now with MAGA and how hateful it's gotten. Some of the things like Ted Nugent going back to Hillary Clinton in 2016 when she was running, and just some of the horrible things that Ted Nugent was putting out there, and and even Kid Rock, and just some really awful things. It's a little bit like back in the old days. It wasn't like it is now. MAGA has amplified everything or whatever, and so we're at a place where we can't really let things go. You know what I mean? We just can't. I can't. I just can't go along with someone like a Dean Cain or that Hercules motherfucker. I mean, if you're backing someone like a Trump, it's different than if you back Reagan or even like Mitt Romney or John McCain. When they were running. It's a whole different thing now. MAGA has taken this to a whole new level, and where we're not just like I don't know, like the usual topics or whatever. It's come down to basically destroying democracy and going into autocracy, really just tearing up the Constitution and being America in name only, being the United States of America in name only. So it's different now. I can't. If there's a celebrity or whatever who comes out as a maggot, I got no time for him. I'm not gonna really want to take a chance of ever contributing to their finances, like by buying a record or listening to a record or seeing a movie or a TV show. I just don't want to be a part of that. If there's someone who endorses Trump, Jeff Hodge says the original two members that left KISS had drug and alcohol personality issues the entire time they were in the band. Well, so you don't like disco music, Johnny? Not really. No, not really. I mean, it's okay. There was some of it that was okay. And I remember, we'd go to dances, and it was good to dance to. But when it got so popular to the point that record companies were telling bands like Queen and KISS that you're going to have to come out with a disco song, that's where I drew the line, Kevin Anderson says, Trucker John, The Merkins is a podcast made up of family members and friends who dress up as horror movie monsters and parody well-known songs. Oh. I thought it was like, like Merca. Merca. You liberals ruined America. You liberals already ruined America. That's kind of like that ICE agent, what he sounded like. Liberals already ruined America. Ivy Joe Rains, I'm back. Had a black bear come up to my window. Where do you live, Ivy Joe? You live in the freaking Adirondack, dog? You up in the hills? I hope that well, apparently you survived, so that's good. Jeff Hodge, Al is 77. I knew he was in his 70s. Jeff Hodge, and Al is looking good to me. Jeff has a type, I guess. I don't know. Old and fat. Steve Sayers says 500-pound wolf would be scary. That would be scary. Abby Joe says Susie Jones, she is an old mama bear and she comes to visit me for an apple, and then she goes up the hill. She's a sweet bear. Don't let them fool you, man. Who was that guy, the grizzly guy who got fucking eaten by a bear? Because he thought he was Mr. Bearman, and he thought, oh, they love me? And he would wrestle them and hug them and kiss them because they were so cuddly and cute. And then one day the fucking bear ate him. So just be careful. Don't. He's setting you up, man. The fucking bear is setting you up. Have an apple in one hand and a fucking Glock in the other. I don't know. Old moms, what was the secret Trump and Mike Johnson had that Trump said he'd reveal after the election? I didn't know. It's a secret. I guess it's a secret. Lynn of Washington? Lenovois is here. Hey, Lenovois. Don't think I've seen you in here before, so thank you for coming on in. I do appreciate you for coming on in. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Subscribing is free. Now I got that stupid song in my head. There's nothing I can do. Suzanne for Seppi is here. Hey, Suzanne, good to see you. Thanks for dropping on by. Always good to see Suzanne in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. I do appreciate you. Suzanne for Seppi says gerrymandering and Ken Paxton. And someone was asking about Texas. Yes, Susie, Colin Allred, thank you. It was Colin Allred that ran against Cruz. And he seemed to run a really good campaign. And I can remember right up to the campaign, right up to the election, people were saying that he had a chance and that Ted Cruz was getting worried and all this shit. But then the results was pretty much Cruz won pretty handily. Seemed to go against the polling, and so that's pretty suspicious. Chris Doug says Paxton is a classic example. The man should be in prison, not a state attorney general. Yep. Hey, Jolie, member for 18 months. Yippee to Jolie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for not only being a member for 18 months and being my mod, but really being here since the beginning of the show and doing these live streams and being a really important part of the show and helping to kind of guide me and give me valuable feedback and having my back. So I appreciate you, Jolie. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Johnny says, generally speaking, most humans are disgusting. I mean, even the hottest chicks take shit. Well, yeah, that's true. Everyone takes a shit. It is what it is. Klato Barato Nitku says, Trucker John 3, did Trump say this weekend that the Russia-Ukraine war was Biden's fault? He did say that Putin told him the 2020 election was fixed because of mail-in ballots. You mean Putin's double? You guys ever listen to Jake Bro? If you guys know who Jake Bro is, he's always been pretty, I think, upfront and doesn't put out stuff that's bullshit. You know, a pretty trustworthy guy, I think. He thinks that Putin that showed up in Alaska wasn't really Putin. That was a double. And looking at some of the videos and the pictures and stuff, and you put them side by side with other pictures of Putin where it's pretty sure that is the real Putin. I think he has a strong case that that was maybe just a double. But nevertheless, whatever was said, I'm sure what Putin would have said, or whatever. But and so those are the things that Putin wanted to get across to him, as far as like the mail-in ballots and stuff. And so then the next thing you know, Trump's coming out there saying, "Yeah, we gotta stop mail-in ballots." So he's just a Putin puppet. Hillary Clinton was right. Donald Trump is just a big old fucking Putin puppet. I.e. Johnny says Republicans fuck up, then Democrats clean up. That's been the pattern, and I don't know what it's going to take for people to stop with that pattern. We need to have Democratic White Houses and Congresses for a bunch of voting cycles in a row instead of this back and forth bullshit. Because each time we went back and forth, it's like we've gotten further and further down, like going from Reagan to H.W. Bush to W. Bush and then to Trump. It's not like it was just like a straight back and forth thing. It's like every time it would swing back to the Republicans, they would take us down a little bit deeper, and a little deeper, and a little deeper, and a little deeper. And then we're cleaning up, but we're not able to get back, all the way. Although motherfucking Biden, man, Biden's big, beautiful economy, Bidenomics, it did kind of get us back up to where we were 50 years ago, 60 years ago, some of these numbers that we hadn't seen in that time, Chris Doug, that guy in your apartment laughs at all your jokes. Hi, guy in the apartment. No. He's not waving back. Such a soch. Oh, there it goes. David Dog, you guys have a great day. I got to go grocery shopping. Thanks, Trucker John. Thanks, David Dog, the big dog. I appreciate you being here. I do appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back on tomorrow. Yeah, i.e. Johnny says, it's hilarious coming from Trump considering he takes advantage of mail-in voting. Another example of Trump being a big old hypocrite. Collector Baracco Nico, dandelion tea. I'm just going to pick a fucking dandelion. I'm going to rinse it off in the sink, and I'm just going to eat it. Okay, guys? I'm not making tea. I'm not making soup. I'm not doing this and that. I'm just going to fucking eat the thing and be done with it. Let's get to 4,000. Roxanne, we can see you in the mirror too, TJ. I know. We talked about the mirror. Mrs. Buck, I like Dyson Sphere Vacuum. It sucks in everything that gets close enough. Christina Weil, I had to step out again. Sandy Foltz is back again. Christina Weil says, okay, I had to step out again. Not only did I smoke, but I'm at the end of 3 loads of my laundry, and I had to take my dog out. Alrighty. Kevin Anderson says, yeah, and worse, Kid Rock said, F you to Fauci when Fauci helped us with the pandemic. Yeah, all that shit. All that maggot shit. All the anti-COVID stuff, the anti-vaxxing stuff. If you're on board with that as a celebrity, then I can't, I can't allow that. I can't just let that stand, Chris Doug, if we only had a President John McCain, at least he would have protected us from Trump. But I'm glad Obama won. But when you look at it, I mean, and this always makes my head explode. I shouldn't even think about it. But Reagan cheated with Iran-Contra to get elected. If they hadn't done that, Carter would have won. Now, I don't know who would have been president in '84. I mean, Dukakis ran, I think. You know, Clinton didn't come around until what, 92 or something, whatever the year was. But if we could have got a good Democrat there, I mean, I know it kind of will, it changes the whole timeline, but if we could have kept Democrat, I don't know who would have won in 84. I don't know who would have ran. You know, who knows? Dukakis might not even have ran. But then we ended up with Clinton, and then after Clinton, if it would have been Gore instead of fucking Bush, and then we had Obama, and then of course if it had been Hillary instead of Trump, I mean, just think of all those are great people. You know, I think Carter was great. I think Bill Clinton was really, really good. Obama was great. Biden was great. If we had, and I think Gore would have been really good. So if we would have just had this solid line of just Democratic presidents and hopefully, you know, Democratic Congresses to go along with that, I mean, we would be decades and decades ahead in terms of renewable energy, in terms of healthcare and having Medicare for all, in terms of you know, technology and having just so many jobs in that sector. It would be a whole different world. It would be a completely different world if we had never had these fucking fuck up presidencies of Reagan and the Bushes and the Trumps. They have set us back decades in terms of progress. And now we're on the verge of losing it all, losing the whole goddamn country. We're in danger right now of losing our republic, losing our Constitution. That's where we're at now. That's what I mean by with each one of those Republican presidencies, we've gotten lower and lower and lower and lower in terms of you know, what's good for our country. And I think we should you know, we should know our past so we don't repeat the mistakes. But whenever I go through that sort of litany of those presidencies, it kind of hurts my brain a little bit because you go down this rabbit hole, and you just gotta just say, stop it. Okay, here we are. We're in 2025. We just gotta learn from our mistakes and deal with what we're dealing with right now. I can't change the past, although I wish I could. If I had a time machine, I would change the past. Okay, I know there's butterfly effect and unintended consequences, but I would start. Who knows? I might even start with fucking Kennedy not getting assassinated, because then just go back to that and how things would have changed if we would have had Kennedy for 2 terms, and then maybe Johnson or maybe somebody else. I mean, Johnson might not even have ran, but then some other Democrat, I don't know, Humphrey or whatever, RFK Jr. I mean, not Jr. Oh my God, no. Oh my God, what am I saying? RFK Sr. But I don't know if we would have gone back-to-back Kennedys. Probably not. Probably not. But God, we ended up with fucking Nixon, you know, after Johnson, and then we ended up with the clown, you know, Ford took over for a little bit, and then we got 4 years of Carter. I guess that wasn't good enough. And then we ended up with fucking 12 years of Reagan and H.W. Bush. You know, 2 terms with Reagan and a term with H.W. Yeah, and like someone said, that supply side, that trickle down shit does not fucking work. Robert Perez, were you burning disco records like the good rocker back in '81, Johnny? I didn't have any to burn because I didn't buy disco records. Grizzly Adams. No, not Grizzly Adams. There was a dude. There was a dude. I mean, this didn't happen. This happened not too long ago, I think, and within the last 20 years, that dude got fucking eaten by a bear. He put videos up with him and the bears, and they would wrestle, and he'd pet them and shit. And then one day, the fucking bear ate him. Jolie, Grizzly Man. Yeah, that's the guy. Oh, the bears ate his girlfriend too. Jesus. So, like I said, you can give him the apple, but have the Glock behind you, cocked and ready to go. Ivy Joe Raines, TJ, I live in Upper Peninsula, Wisconsin, in the forest, in Wisconsin. Does Michael McAndrews ever say hi to you? Because he goes up there and camps all the time, I think. Robert Perez, oh, God, there's a Western and country music style now lag. I don't know what that means. Mr. Spot, Kim Jong don't poop. BD Hertz, Jake Bro is good. Yeah, I like Jake Bro. And he lives here in Vegas. Maybe someday we'll bump elbows, rub elbows, or something like that. Roxanne Dayman, oh, fighter of the night, man. Yeah, there we go. Always Sunny, Philadelphia. Season 3, episode 2. Let's get Vincible. The gang gets Vincible. Starring Trucker John. VD Hertz just still fuming. I don't blame you for being mad, though, VD. But, keep bringing it up. It's kind of funny. Okay, Banana says, Trucker John, speaking of people getting Darwin Awards, when we went to Montana, we heard this one girl who went up to a buffalo, like nice furry animal. It gored her half to death. I think I heard about that. Yeah, buffaloes don't play. They don't play, man. Culture Barasco Nico says, why did that guy shoot up the TDC headquarters? What person put in his head or in his mind they were the bad guys? The bad guys. I don't know, but RFK Jr. didn't seem too concerned about it, and he just was posting fish that he caught on a fishing trip when that happened. So that shows you how much he gives a fuck about any of that. Luck Dragon says, my girlfriend has permanent residence in this United States of America, but today she just went to court with her sister to change her name legally to match the one on her green card. Well, I hope that all went well. I hope that went well. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I'm just about caught up. I think we'll probably call it a day here. Yeah, I'm just glad, Luck Dragon, your girlfriend didn't get hauled in by anybody. All right, guys. So stay hydrated, my friends. I hope everything goes okay. I mean, these are tough times. These are interesting times. We've been cursed with living in interesting times. Let's all, stick together. We are the ant people. Let's stick together and, and fight these Nazi bastards in any way that we can. I mean, right now, let's try to keep it as peaceful as possible, and let's try to beat them at the ballot box. It's going to be tough. It's going to be scary, but we need to be brave. We need to work together in groups, have a buddy system, make sure we vote. I know we're still over a year away from the midterms, and we're going to continually see these videos of these so-called ICE agents just grabbing people. It's all about fear and intimidation and making people afraid to vote. So let's not be afraid to vote. That's what they want. And I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people, but we got to do whatever we can do. Like I say, have a buddy system. If we're not going to have mail-in voting, maybe the red states won't have it. Maybe the blue states will still be able to do it. I don't know, but let's just be vigilant about that and make sure we can vote. We need to make sure that we get the House back, at the very least. Hopefully get the Senate and just really stymie this motherfucker the rest of the way out, they've already gotten halfway through Project 2025. There's another year before the midterms, over a year. They might have the whole thing done by then, so I don't know. But we can stand together. There are tens of millions of us, or hundreds of millions of us. There's 330 million people in this country. I really don't think it's going to go over well. Eventually, there will be a tipping point. I know some people criticize us for not getting, active enough or upset enough. It's going to happen at some point. There will be a tipping point. And we will have the numbers. We will be the ant people, and we will stand up to the fucking grasshoppers or whatever they were, fucking locusts and shit like that. All right, so I guess that's it for today. We didn't make the goal today, but maybe tomorrow. And maybe we'll be at 4,000 subscribers pretty soon. You guys will see me eat that dandelion. Thanks for everyone for watching. We got 66 thumbs ups. I'll see tomorrow. Let's see, tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm going to try to start early enough so that we can end and go raid Boston Brian, who I think will come on at 11 Pacific, 1 o'clock East, or is it 11? Yeah, Pacific. So I guess that would be 2 o'clock Pacific, but whatever. And we'll try to do that. We'll just raid over to that show. So I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning, or 9 a.m. my time. In the meantime, you guys take care, and don't get thrown into a car and disappeared. Please don't. Please don't do that. Anything else I'm forgetting? Anything else I need to bring up? I think I got everything covered for today. Sharky from over there across the pond jumps in, says stay strong. Thank you, Sharky. We're gonna stay strong, and we're going to fight. We had to beat the fascists back in the 40s. I guess it's our turn now to do it here in the 2025s. We beat the Nazis once, we'll beat them again. And the next time some fucking Nazi says that you liberals ruin America, just put it right back in their face and say, no, you fucking Nazis are ruining America. We're not supposed to be Nazis. We fight Nazis. You fucking Nazis are ruining America. Get the fuck out of our country. You're not welcome here. Nazis are not welcome here. Just tell them that. All right. So, as is a custom, we will end the show on words of wisdom. So you might want to get pad, paper, pencil, pen, crayon, Sharpie, whatever it is, and write this down. These are golden words of wisdom from Trucker John. All right, here we go. So for today's words of wisdom,
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. I'm my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.